Hello everyone, Charles Walhingford back again, and I'm here at Little Treasury Jewelers in Gambrills, Maryland, and today I am at a special Bremont event. Oftentimes, Little Treasury has these events, and I'm always missing them. I finally got lucky to get into one, and here we are, and I'm really excited because they have some good representatives. They have some new watches that I haven't seen before, and some older watches I haven't seen before also you may have not have seen. If you like Jaguar, we got some watches for you. And I know I have way too many diver watches. There's a diver watch that I think you like. All right, guys, I'll get back to you real soon. Okay, everyone, we're back. This is actually the second day. I have Michael Pearson from Bremont, North America. What is your actual title?
Director of North America. I just work for the brand.
Okay.
Yeah, but I've been with the brand for over 6 years now, and so it's been probably a labour of love, and to build it over here. I try and be Nick and Giles' voice over here.
Oh, you're doing a good job.
Thanks.
You're
just a
doing
big
great
mouth,
job.
big mouth for sure.
So, what I understand, you guys didn't make it to Basel this year. What's going on with that, or what made that decision?
Well, we've been to Basel for the last, I think, 8 years, and we've been around for just a decade selling watches. And Basel's a massively important show for the watch industry. And obviously, everybody knows it as a Swiss industry. And the way I've always thought about it is it's a world's industry. America, Germany, and especially the UK had a lot to do with watchmaking back in the day. And so as we've got maybe a little bigger or a little bit more established, and we've brought a lot more stuff back to the UK in terms of how we build the watches, we thought it was time to do our own show. And so we called it Bremont London Townhouse, and we flew in press and retailers, guys from Little Treasury, where we are today, to London, and we rented out a 6-story townhouse in the middle of downtown London, and every single room and every single level had a different element of the brand, either the diving watches or Boeing or Jaguar or Norton, Martin Baker, and it was great. And then we had a day out to Henley so people could see where we were built, and obviously we had some events at night with a few celebs.
I know how Bremont knows how to decorate.
Yeah.
So I can imagine how crazy the inside of that was.
It looked beautiful. We've got a great team of the events staff back in the UK, and they worked tirelessly for days and days to make it look good. But when you walked into a room, you felt like in Martin Baker there was ejection seats. In the Norton there was obviously the motorcycle. Jaguar had the hoods from the E-Type. Even Boeing, we had a Boeing bar where we had a table with the turbine blade beautifully moving. It was just great.
Oh man, I have to try to make it to one of those sometime soon.
Next year.
Possibly, maybe
All right.
next year. Charles Walhingford goes to England.
It's all done now.
So these were the watches that you had on display that we're showing today at Little Treasury. What watch do you think really stands out, or what do you think we brought to the table this year that is really going to make people pay attention?
Well, I think for us, every year, what we try and do is get better as a brand. And obviously, you might know, if you're familiar with Bremont, we've had quite a few partnerships, Jaguar, Boeing, and this has been amazing. But I think from last year's Basel and this year's Townhouse, we've really concentrated on the core. and we've redeveloped certain favourites like the Martin Baker, redone our Zulu watch, which is now the Alt 1 ZT or the ZT51. And then this year we came out with new versions of our chronographs, which was great, called the Alt 1 P2. And we also did a new size, which was 40mm.
Right.
Our standard size is 43, and it's what me, Nick, Giles, and the rest of the team always loved. But we started to work on something about 1.5 years, 2 years ago in terms of sizing. And very cleverly, or maybe a bit of luck, Nick and Giles sent some questionnaires out to some of our Bremont customers just to see how they thought we were doing, what we could improve, what we could change. And they all said we'd love to see a 40mm watch, which was like, because we're doing it. And so we came out with a new size for our diving watch and but to do a 40mm, it kind of went back to a traditional way of watches maybe have been worn. But if we were going to do a 40mm, it had to be done our aesthetic, our way. So obviously all the steel's hardened, all the sapphires treated. But the one thing you'll see when we do our collection, especially from townhouses, it might be a 40mm watch, and you might think it's quite simple to do. Every single element of this year's collection was brand new to us. So the research and development wise, there's nothing been like it for us in a long, long time. Every screw, every crown, every seal was brand new to the collection. So it really, for me, completed the core.
Man, I can see it in what you brought out. What I think is the star, and speaking of 40mm, the star was the Supermarine 301.
Yeah, for sure. Right, so we did 3 versions. The black and the blue are called the S300, and the original design of the 301 didn't have a date. We covered it up, but no matter what we think as watch guys or girls, a date's really important. So we put it back on, but we had this vintage feel. So it kind of stood out, and we've got this new strap, which is a beautiful soft leather. And
that strap, oh my goodness, it makes the watch. I guess a strap shouldn't. I'm sorry, it does.
Well, I always say you buy the watch, the straps, your shoes, and the belt. You make it how you like, but if we can back it up by making good straps, and we've got great leathers, and obviously our bracelet's cool and our rubber's cool, but this new strap, it does look really good, and it suits the watch for sure.
Absolutely. For me, my favorite was the new MK2 with the white dial and the piece de resistance, the red tips on the hour and minute hands.
Well, the Jaguar collection, or the Jaguar partnership's been going on for a few years now. They took our design and put it into their supercars for their 75th anniversary. We then started to work with Ian Callum, the chief designer, and he actually put the clocks inside of the Queen's Royal Fleet of Jaguar cars, which was crazy. And then we did a watch with their lightweight E-Type. We did 6 watches with 6 cars. The cars were £1.7 million each. Crazy, crazy, but beautiful. And the watches were very, very much in keeping with that level of luxury with gold and the different elements. But the design with us and Ian Callum went so well that we came out with one watch called the Mark 1 that looked like the original 6 pieces, the Mark II, which was a chronograph, and the Mark III, which was a lovely, lovely piece which had a closed back, old school Jaguar logo, but it was a lovely, just a 3-hander. So price point wise, that was great. But then this white dial was always in there for Jaguar, and so we did the Mark II in white dial, and I saw the pictures. You know, I'm a watch fan like you guys are out there, and you look at a picture and you judge it and you say, I'm not sure, maybe I like the black one more. In real life, it's killer. And that high polish, and yes, the little bit of red at the end makes it look great. And we've still got the E-Type steering wheel and the tyre tread for the crown. So there's a lot of detail in that watch. And
a lot of detail. Now, everybody wants to know, always do the wrist check. What are you wearing today?
Well, I'm doing the Norton. It was the first watch which I fell in love with from the brand. You might be familiar with it. We did a watch a few years ago with Norton motorcycles. They made 200 bikes and we made 200 watches, and the serial numbers were the same, which is great. So you had the choice, and they're all gone now. They're all sold out, and for many years people wanted another Norton, but it had to be the right time. And so Norton this year have entered 2 bikes into the Isle of Man TT race. It's the most gorgeous bike you'll ever see, and we've got 2 riders on there, and it says Bremont on the side, and this bike is chromed out, the wheels are beautiful and red, and we said, let's do something now. So they're going to make 200 road bikes, and we're doing 200 watches again, but this one is now high polish, a chrome-ish finish that you'll see in real life. You have to see, and on the back the rotor is very much like the wheels, the very, very beautiful vibrant red of the wheels of the bike itself.
Oh, I can't wait to see that one.
Yeah, there was only 1 prototype, so unfortunately it's out for photography, but get online, have a look, and if any of your local authorised dealers are lucky enough to have one, bit of a hint and a tip, they've all basically been sold out now already. So if you do see one, it's very rare already.
Damn.
Yeah, but I love mine, and yeah, it's the coolest thing we do. I think for a lot of people.
Oh, so much information, so much detail, and some really good watch work.
Thank you.
Michael, thank you for so much for coming here to Little Treasury and coming. Well, you actually live
Yep.
in the United States right now.
I've lived in America
right?
for 10 and a half years. I live in
Okay.
Michigan. We've got our office in New York City, so I obviously in the city a lot, but I love Maryland. And Steve and the Little Treasury team have been with us for about 5-6 years now. So this is one of our hubs. And if you want to know about the brand, come on down to Little Treasury. And obviously you can give us a shout. We're pretty easy to get a hold of.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, guys. That's Michael. That's towards the end of this program, this video. But I'll have a little bit more for you in just a second or a moment. All right. Thanks.
Real pleasure. Much appreciated.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's the event. It was pretty cool. Again, this is my first time at one of these Bremont events. Learned a lot. Got to meet some pretty cool people. If you're interested, get in contact with Little Treasury, and they'll tell you about all their events that they're holding. And it's a great way to talk watches and be around watch people, especially when it comes to Bremont, because most Bremont guys, girls, or what have you, they're really into watches and they have a great story. And if not, just come down to see something new. I want to thank Michael from Bremont, North America. I want to thank Steve Hamlin from Little Treasury for putting on this event and making this an event to remember. Hopefully I'll be at the next one and the next event. I'm Charles Walhingford, and this is how I spent my money.